Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I've went through and watched the press conference, which is an hour plus of my life that I'll never get back. They really didn't say much anything other than finding out that Stephon Gilmore was in the building, which we don't know if that's going to be one of those free agent signings that comes sooner or later. Understand, I don't know how much Stephon Gilmore is going to get paid and things like that. But after the draft, basically, then it doesn't hurt you when you sign a free agent. I think it's after the 24th. No, is it 24th? Be that as it may, if you sign a player before, 28th. If you sign a player before the 28th, then basically it looks at the free agents you lost versus the free agents that you brought in. And if the numbers are worse than the people that you let go, then the people you signed, then you get the comp picks, which is something the Cowboys like. And so it may be that they wait until after the draft to do something with him. Just in case it's, if it's a $5-6 million deal, it might be a 6th-round comp picks that you might lose. And we know how the penny pinchers are. When Stephen Jones heard that $8 million, his eyes bugged out real quick. But this is what pisses me off about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, is the bull crap that you get from them on some things. Stephen Jones says, you can only get to choose about 5 or 6 guys to pay big money. So you don't want to sign guys early because you want to make sure they're the right ones. If you don't know right now that Micah Parsons is one that's worth paying, then you're a freaking idiot. Then you shouldn't be doing your job. Let's be clear here. What changed from the beginning of the offseason last year to training camp? What did CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott do between losing to the Green Bay Packers and the beginning of the season? What made you change your mind? What was the epiphany that you had that said, let's pay those guys? Because at the end of the season, the highest paid quarterback, there was one, Joe Burrow at 55. And then you had Tua get paid, Jordan Love get paid, and Trevor Lawrence get paid. CeeDee Lamb, at the end of that season, I believe Tyreek Hill was the highest paid wide receiver at that time at $30 million. You end up paying him $34.5. So please tell me what it was that made you, from losing to Green Bay to the opening game, that said Dak and CD are our guys. Because arguably you lost $4.5 million a year on CD, and you lost $5 million a year on Dak Prescott. So that's $9.5 million. That's $9.5 million. So when you talk about, and that's just those two. So then when you talk about, if we had done Micah Parsons, maybe as soon as the season ended, and you could have made him the highest paid player in the NFL at 35.5. That costs you another $5 million. So let me see if I get this straight. If you're saying you can only pay 5 or 6 guys big money, you waiting, so you want to make sure you have the right guy. You waiting cost you, instead of 5 or 6, 6 or 7. Because that right there is $15 million a year. So I don't see how you say that this adds up. And it's kind of hard when you sit here and you see the Eagles go ahead and get Cam Jurgens signed. See, sometimes you have educated fools that they believe in the crap that they're talking so much that they literally can't see anything other than the crap that they're talking. The Eagles ended up paying Carson Wentz $30-some million, and it was a mistake. Didn't hurt them any because I see them paying Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. I see him playing Saquon. He just got an extension, right? You just see Cam Jurgens. They got Lane Johnson paid big time. Devontae Smith. That's 7 guys right there. That's 7 right there. And, they had some misses, with the linebacker from Tampa Bay and Huff. So that's like 9 guys right there. And I think they've got like 3 of their offensive linemen locked up to big contracts. This is where you try and make up for the stupidness that you do by saying you can't do this and you can't do that. When we see literally people doing this is the thing that drives me crazy. It's not like it's a surprise. It's not like I am a construction guy. I'm a construction guy, right? And a YouTuber. And I understand enough math to understand that signing Cam Jurgens right now, this year, will save them money in the life of the contract. Not every time are you going to get it right. This is true. But if every time you say, okay, we finally got it right, I'm not sure that you actually get it right. Because you got Jalen Smith. How did that one work out? How did that long-term deal work out? Zeke Elliott. How did that one work out? Because you took your time doing those. How about, wide receiver. Just signed with Washington. How did that one work out? So you're sitting here saying that it's okay to take your time because it doesn't cost you anything because you won't make a mistake? That's the dumbest crap I've ever heard, man. I'm literally, you're honestly going to tell me that you haven't seen enough. This goes back to Jerry Jones and his whole thing. We need to see more leaves fall. What? You honestly don't know that Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb were worth signing. That between the 3 of them, that waiting literally costs you $15 million a year for the next year. So literally, we're talking about, say, $60 million just for those 3 guys. Okay. I get it. And here's the thing. Are you sure you can't? Do you know that you can't pay Tyler Smith? You need to see more for Tyler Smith to get his deal done? Because you could pay him now and save about $5 or $6 million versus next year. Yeah. We've got the dumbest organization in the world, man. And that just pisses me off. Alrighty, good people. As always, I appreciate y'all. I'll see you in about an hour and a half with Game Time Brian and Philly 500 and crew.